Welcome back to CSFL Preseason Media Days here at sprintfootball.com. We're now joined by Navy head coach Alfonso Meidus. And coach, entering your first season with the program, but very familiar with the program as a former student athlete at the academy for Sprint Football. Just talk about how special it is coming back to lead this program and what are some of the goals and the things that you hope to establish in the program.
Yeah, hey Doug, thanks for having me on the platform. I graduated here 2009, played sprint football for Navy for 4 years, and it's really surreal being back. It's really about the players and the guys here play the sport because they love the sport, they love competition, and there's no ulterior motives here. So it's really awesome to be back in a position where now I'm not only influencing, from a coaching perspective, but uniquely being at a service academy and still an active duty Marine that, I get to, influence some of our future leaders that will, go into career service.
I think one of the things that's always impressed me and amazed me about the Navy program is that every 3, 4, 5 years, there's a new coach coming in just based on the assignments that are at the academy. Because then, of course, you'll move on to another assignment, in your service. But just talk about how unique that is, because, a new coach comes in every couple of years, but the standard never drops. The production, the performance is always still there. You played for Jerome Rizzo, who was it was a fantastic coach at Navy, and you replacing Jason Duwald, who did a really good job. Just talk about, the transition and how did, what advice did Jason give you on the way in, and just talk about just how it's really impressive. You can have a new coach every couple of years, but the standard's the standard.
Yeah, I think the one thing you hit it. It's the standard, and coaches come and go, but the culture and the locker room setting stays consistent, and that's a big part of what the team puts down into the players, and then really emphasizes from a culture and mindset perspective. But coaches come in every 3 years really, and but they live throughout some of the team, right? So I have a senior class that has been here for 4 years, a lot of the players, and they know what it is, and I think that's where the continuity and consistency lives. But Jason, biggest thing he recommended when I got here was have fun. I think we a lot of times can lose the focus of football is a fun game, and it's the winning is important, and the life lessons you get out of it are important, but people come and really want to be surrounded by these types of programs because it's a fun thing to be a part of.
And you're right, and you lived through it. For these players, even the grind of practice is the most fun they'll have each day, because of just the demands that are placed upon you as a midshipman at the academy. So that's great advice from Coach DeWald's part. Looking ahead here to the 2021 season, you've been able to have preseason practice with your team. Just talk about we'll look at the offensive side of the ball. Who are some of the returnees that you're looking forward to seeing this year? Maybe there's some newcomers, but who are some of the names that Sprint football fans should get familiar with this year?
First off, our offensive coordinator, who was here in the spring, and they uniquely this past spring we got a decent amount of practice and work in. So there was a lot of stuff already set up for me to step into and kind of start to get familiar with and evaluate. But I'd say I'm a fan of the run game, right? And everyone's going into these spread style offenses, just in the kind of current football world we're living in. But our offensive captain, Matt McGee, he'll definitely be showcased as a runner this year for us, and he definitely leads. He leads by example and leads from the front. And then, unfortunately, one of our top receivers, we just got some bad news on. He's going to be out this season with an ACL injury. So Vic Otero, but yeah, and then we're still in the middle of a quarterback battle. We had and uniquely, we don't have a lot of evaluation of guys because of last year's lack of competition. We have guys on the field that haven't seen a ton of playing time. So it's been some really good, healthy competition, but I think, you'll see that emerge here week one. We'll get into this week and today really we'll make sure that we're solidifying who our ones are. But Atwood right now is kind of winning that quarterback battle as a sophomore coming in, and really close between him and Leong, and Leong's our senior returner. But yeah, I think you'll see a lot of both of those guys this year. And then again, just shoring up the offensive line. You have Keneally, who's gonna we're gonna lean on him on the line this year, and then senior in Fagan will be our center. So yeah, that's what we're looking at, and we have a whole attack of receivers, especially with some of the stuff we're gonna run that I don't think you'll see one single. I think you'll see a lot of the ball getting shared around here on the offense this year.
Looking at the defensive side of the ball, same type of question. Who are some of the returnees that, not just going to rely on to be playmakers, but also provide leadership this year for you?
Yeah, and again, I've been really, really impressed with the captains, right? So defensive captain, Mike Garnett, again, leading by example. He's been, kind of outside linebacker for us in the past. We're looking at him in a couple different roles this year. And the really, with sprint football in general, we get a lot of skilled players, right, that come in, and you get a lot of the receivers and quarterbacks, and it's hard to find, those guys that have a lot of experience either on the line or some of those, middle inside linebacker positions, just because of size in high school and that kind of thing. So, but yeah, Mike Garnett really will lead the charge for us, and then our safety Weisenfels, looking just a phenomenal athlete out of him. So looking for big things there too.
And finally, looking at special teams, talk a little bit about the kicking game, the return game. What will the mids be able to feature this year?
Yeah, so I think we're again unique because of our turnover a lot here. Our special teams guys, especially our kicker and our punter, they do a lot of self-teaching and self-coaching, right? And we don't have a ton of obviously we have our special teams coaches and all that, but as they dual hat and look at roles elsewhere, in the program, yeah, it's really interesting to see those guys be successful. So we'll see. I mean, when I played, I think our kicker, I don't think the record probably still holds, but he was like the number one, had the most points of any, sprint football player, just amount of field goals and extra points he kicked in 4 years. So that we definitely will emphasize, brilliance in the basics on that stuff, and make sure we're just taking care of business.
Coach, best of luck this season. Looking forward to seeing you guys play.
All right. Thanks, Doug. We'll